Welcome back. Veteran actor Amitabh Bachchan has been known for staying clear of controversies, but while attending the Kolkata Film Festival yesterday, where he was on stage along with Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, Big B said even now questions are being raised about civil liberties and freedom of expression. The context, of course, was about censorship in the film industry over the years. But this rare stand has sparked a political war of words, the BJP claiming that Mr. Bachchan was holding a mirror to Mamata Banerjee. The TMC claiming that censorship is happening under the BJP's watch. So who has really been rattled by what Big B said?
But even now, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure my colleagues on stage will agree, questions are being raised on civil liberties and freedom of expression.
जी अमित जी बहुत बुजुर्ग है, सीनियर है, पॉपुलर है, वो अलग किस्म की है. उनको लेके हम कोई कंट्रोवर्सी नहीं चाहते. हम ये बोलेंगे कि सियाना के लिए इशारा काफी होते हैं, वो मुंह में बोलना नहीं है.
All right, on the talking point this evening, Sriraj Nair is VHP spokesperson, Riju Datta TMC spokesperson, Gautam Chintamani is a film historian, and Akashdeep, actor and filmmaker, joining us. Mr. Nair, what Mr. Bachchan said, and he didn't cite any specific instance going all the way from the 1952 cinematograph. He said, even now, I'm sure my colleagues on stage would agree, questions are being raised on civil liberties and freedom of expression. This was in the context of the CBFC and the censor board and so on. So why are the BJP, VHP, etc. so rattled by what Mr. Bachchan said?
Mr. Amitabh Bachchan is a great, iconic, tall figure of our nation. We all respect him and we love him. There is no question about it. But the only issue is Mr. Bachchan didn't raise the same area of worry when Kashmir File director Mr. Vivek Agnihotri was ridiculed, mocked and made fun of. Now the Cinematography Act of 1952 applies to him also. He made the film with all the sense, and the film went under all the censor rules and regulations. And Mr. Bachchan should have equally raised an objection when Mr. Majid Majidi, an Iranian filmmaker, who made a film and it was titled as Mohammed, and people didn't allow Mr. Majid to release his movie in India.
Mr. Nair, Mr. Bachchan is an actor. He's not a politician. So this is selective. Why should he react to every movie that you have a problem with? He will choose to speak about the movies that he has a problem with. He's an actor. He's not a politician.
We also have a right to protest. That this is our constitutional right. So the way he has a right to express, we or the people who find this film as objectionable, we all have the right to protest under the constitutional system.
No, nobody is saying you cannot not protest. Mr. Nair, no one is saying that you can't protest. The point is, Mr. Bachchan can choose to speak about Kashmir Files, cannot choose to speak about Kashmir Files. I think the larger point he raised is that irrespective of who is in power, I don't think he named any political party or any government, irrespective of who is in power, from time to time, the censor board has been used to stifle freedom of expression. That's the point that he made.
Yeah. Jacob, one more example. In the year 2017, a film was released which was titled as Hindu Sarkar, made by filmmaker Madhur Bhandarkar. And Congress was Congress never allowed the film to release. They created ruckus all over. They did hooliganism. So this kind of things have been happening. But what is happening? Hindu bashing is very convenient. They know, whatever they do about Hindus, they are not going to react.
Okay.
But these are the days of the past. Now Hindus are going to retaliate. They are going to boycott, and they are going to teach a lesson to this kind of
Riju Datta, this is at the end of the day Hindu bashing. Never mind the fact that Mr. Bachchan is also a proud Hindu. But the point being that Riju Datta, the BJP is saying, one second, Riju Datta, the BJP is saying that, look, it's not like the TMC can hold a mirror about freedom of expression. Your government also is known for having jailed cartoonists like Asim Trivedi.
Exactly.
Look,
Zaka,
let me
some lady made a meme and this Mamata Banerjee madam jailed that.
Okay, Mr. Nair, please yield. Mr. Nair, please yield. Let Riju respond. Yeah, Riju Datta.
My point is very simple. From 2014, the people of this country have been greeted into a theater of absurdity. The entire country has been turned into a hate factory. and suddenly all these narratives have come up. My first very pointed question is, who has given any organization a patent on the saffron color? Is the saffron color anybody's paternal property? I am a proud Hindu, I am a staunch Hindu, but who is anybody to talk about my religion? The freedom of expression, they are talking about freedom of expression. What about the right and liberties of Gauri, Lankesh, Umar, Khalid? Is it a crime to be a minority in our country? These people have the right to protest, fair enough. But what about moral policing? What about hypocrisy?
No, but Mr. Datta, let's stick to what Mr. Bachchan said. Riju, one second. Let's stick to what Mr. Bachchan said. It was in the context of censor board. Are you telling me Kissa Kursi Ka was not censored by the Congress regime? Are you telling me that... one second. Are you telling me that other movies and books have not been censored when the UPA or previous versions of the Congress were in power, previous governments of the Congress were in power? Censor board has been used equally by whichever party is in power.
Zaka, I'll give you two very clear answers. Number one, this particular film in concern, the Pathan film, has been passed by the censor board. Number one. Number two, who is the chairman of the censor board? You have answered the question. Whoever the central disposition is, they control the censor board according to their political propaganda. But who is in power right now? They have to take the accountability for that. And a boycott is anybody's right. I support. Anybody have the right to express boycott. But what about the statements of the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Narottam Mishra? What about the statements of Pragya Thakur and member of the parliament who say, if you play this movie and if you play this song, we'll break your heads?
Okay, no, Gautam Chintamani, one second. Gautam Chintamani, one second. I want to ask Gautam Chintamani and Akashdeep after that, please. Gautam Chintamani, the point is that I think, over the last many years, Bollywood in the Hindi film industry have become this sort of convenient soft target. Every time there is an issue, political parties want to have a go at each other, you pick on Bollywood. You had Lal Singh Chadda that was released a few months back. There was a brigade that came out and opposed it, not for anything else, but because Amir Khan had said something in 2015, right? The point is, filmmakers are also now not just suffering, forget about what they can and cannot do, but commercially also they're suffering because of this. Now, there is a brigade that's come out and said boycott Pathan. I don't know how it may impact the revenues of this movie. It has to be a good movie or whatever. But at a time when, Bollywood itself is facing an existential crisis, to have one brigade come out and say boycott Bollywood, that's not particularly helpful.
Zaka, the point here is, we are talking about freedom of expression, and then it's not that Bollywood is not guilty of trying to make controversial statements at times, trying to push the envelope a little bit. Everybody loves a good controversy here because that is how you're going to get eyeballs. I think that certain liberties have been taken by filmmakers in the past, and not just with religion or what have you, but look at a Ram Teri Ganga Maili. Had it been some other filmmaker other than Raj Kapoor, the censor would not have allowed the kind of stuff it allowed. So it is also the filmmaker's prerogative to know that you're catering to an audience. At the end of the day, you're making films, you're releasing them in a cinema hall. You may pass the censor board, but there is also an audience that you're catering to. And if the majority of your audience does not see the film in a certain way that you're presenting it, they will not go in and the film will not be a success.
Fair enough.
The simple argument is that to say that Bollywood is an easy target is a very convenient argument. I think that in this day and age, when you put something out there, you're ultimately putting it out there for the audience, and the audience has a way of responding. Now, having said that, I think censor board may work under the ministry of a central government ministry, may report to that, but at the end of the day, it's a fairly independent body. They have to work within the purview of the Cinematograph Act of 1952. And I think in the last few years, the Narendra Modi government has been trying to update this act. But what happens is that every time there is a consensus amongst filmmakers and people who are on the board and they come to some kind of a framework, a lot of things change. Like the last time they came very close to passing that law, but the whole OTT universe exploded. Now, one has to be ahead of the curve because one has to make sure that what is the kind of content you're putting out there.
Got it.
And it's a sensitive issue.
Let me ask Akashdeep this. Now, I mean, this whole issue from this new song Besharam Rang around Deepika Padukone and a saffron bikini that she was wearing. Now, there are two parts to this. I don't think it's anybody's business to be worried about, what clothes she was wearing. She was wearing half a dozen clothes in that entire song sequence. For people to selectively pick one color, saying it's insulting to a particular religion. I mean, I think that's completely, unacceptable. But having said that, there are also people asking this question that here you have the Shahenshah of Bollywood and one of the leading actresses of Bollywood, and Bollywood's clearly going through an existential crisis, and you're going back to that same old 90s formula of whatever rain song, rain dance kind of thing, singing by the sea, bikini. I mean, look at the movies that are being consumed on OTT today, the qualitative difference. And then they say, why is the South doing well? Why are Southern movies doing well? Because they have better stories to tell. They're not stuck in the 1990s. They're not playing by the old formulae. Akashdeep.
No, Zaka, I have a slightly different point of view. OTT is catering to great stories, pushing the envelope, stories that you would have otherwise not contemplated doing, cinema for theaters about. And that's a different medium. Bollywood is now probably in a state where you have to look at ways to bring in the audience, to give them value for their money, whether we go back to the era of multi-starrers, to imagine Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan in a film, Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan in a film or whatever. Now, the family would want to spend those 2,000 rupees for a family of four and intervals and what have you in terms of expenses. But to see, with all due respect, to see a good, serious film with very natural acting, very natural lighting is what the OTT is offering us. And that is now a separate space in entertainment and a separate part of our viewing, which has eaten up the amount of screen time we would have spent going to the theatre.
Of course.
So there is that shift, but it's not an existential crisis. And going to your earlier part of the question, I'm really surprised if Mr. Nair or any other people who represent political parties or organizations have the superior leaders told you all to go ahead with your stand on saffron color used in the bikini or the bikini per se. I don't think. I just think it is organizations taking advantage and having a free run. I mean, Mr. Nair said, during the Congress era also this happened, that happened, this agitation, that film ban, this ban. So you're doing the same thing, Mr. Nair. Then why do you run down the Congress?
Okay. Mr. Sriraj Nair, respond. What is the issue?
You have a censor board.
One second. Let him respond. You asked him a question.
Zaka, let me wind up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Zaka, I'll wind up, then let him respond. Wind up. I have a censor board. I go to Mr. Nair. I get a certificate. And after that, I have to meet this Sena, this Parishad, that Parishad, and get their okays.
So Mr. Nair, if this song is out in the public domain, it's clearly been cleared by the censor board. If the censor board has found nothing objectionable, why are you finding objectionable about Deepika Padukone wearing a saffron bikini? Mr. Nair, yeah.
You respect your own censor board.
Then let him respond, please. Akash, yield. Yeah, let him respond.
Akashdeep ji, please, I am saying the same thing. When censor board has passed Kashmir files and it was viewed by crores of people, then why when he was insulted in the Goa Film Festival, none of this gang who is today in support of Pathan came in support of Mr. Vivek Agnihotri. Isn't it this a hypocrisy? Now, Hindu Sarkar had also undergone all the censor process and it was reserved.
No, one second, Akash, one second.
So this is hypocrisy.
Let him respond.
You cannot,
but Mr. Nair,
let's
stick to the issue at hand. Let's stick to the issue at hand, which is what is your problem? What is your problem or VHP's problem with Deepika Padukone wearing a saffron bikini? What is the issue?
Well, saffron has got a sentimental value as Hindu. It's a color of Balidan, Tyag, and we feel, and there is a large section of people feel there is some bad intention with this with the way it has been filmed, it is as good as a soft porn. Can people sit in the with their daughters and mothers and see this kind of songs? So definitely it is objectionable.
Mr. Nair,
and,
no. Once again,
we
if
have
it is
all the
adult
right to
content,
protest.
once
And
again,
under the
if
constitution
it
we are
is
protesting.
adult
That's it.
content, it's the job of the CBFC to say, okay, only 18 plus people can watch this. They give a certificate, right? Why should anybody else?
See, Zaka post see, Zaka, the way people when Hindu Sarkar released and the congressmen and other protested, they protested because they had the right to protest. Similarly, we also have the right to protest under the constitution. What wrong we are doing? We feel our sentiments have been heard. So why the selective approach?
Gautam, is that I'll give Gautam the final word. I've got 30 seconds to wrap
did
up.
you support Dr.
Mr.
Taslimas and Nasreen or satiric verses?
Zaka, can I come in?
Okay,
Zaka,
Akash,
one
okay.
interjection.
Okay, one interjection.
Zaka, one
yeah.
interjection.
Okay, one interjection, yeah.
Yeah, Mr.
Quickly
Nair,
though, yeah.
Mr. Nair, you hurt us when you say these things because we like the current dispensation. We are pro BJP, but just because you are riding that wave as a parishad, do not say these things ke unhone bhi kiya, hum bhi karenge. We voted for you and we brought you back and we are proud of the BJP because they are not doing the things that we did not like.
Okay, I've got to call time. I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much, Akash Deep, Mr. Nair. Gautam, sorry I couldn't come back to you for a last word, but I'm completely out of time. Thanks very much for tuning in. On the other side, a very special show. Today marks exactly 10 years since the brutal rape and murder of Nirbhaya. Maria Shakil with that special show.